August 1st, 2010. I remember the day because every year now on August 1st, I think about how one completely ordinary sentence changed the course of my life. I looked at my husband as he came home from a business trip in Brazil and said, "I'm leaving you tonight." I was shocked and I said, "We're out of milk." That was it. No screaming, no big dramatic fight, no warning that my marriage was about to end, just, "I'm leaving you." And I said, "Well, we're out of milk." Things had been bad for a while. There was abuse, and later I found out there was adultery. So he just grabbed his keys and went to the store, came home, dropped off a gallon of milk at the door, and that was the end of my first marriage. At the time, we had a 4-year-old, a 19-month-old, and an 8-week-old baby, breastfeeding, 2 kids in diapers. I was exhausted. It has a happy ending, though. I was still recovering from having a baby. I'd just gone back to do my morning radio show at a Christian radio station in Washington, D.C. 1 week before that happened. That one conversation, the future I thought I was building completely disappeared. I remember standing in the kitchen thinking, how did I not see this coming? How did I marry someone who could just walk away from his family? How did I miss all the signs? How did I choose this? For years, I thought those were the right questions. Today, I know they weren't, because the real question wasn't, how did I choose the wrong man? The real question was, why did nobody ever teach me how to choose well? Because the biggest dating mistake women make isn't simply choosing the wrong man. It's trying to make one of the most important decisions of your life without ever being given a complete strategy. You do not have a character flaw. You have a gap in your plan. And until you know the difference, you're going to keep trying to fix yourself instead of fixing the strategy. Or worse off, you're going to swear off all men and feel like it's better to be alone. I promise you it's not. I tried that. Welcome to the playbook. I'm Amanda Carroll. I'm a dating strategist for women in their 30s and 40s that have a great career, can financially support themselves, but haven't yet found the relationship that they're looking for. I can help. Every week on this podcast, I give you one play you can run in your dating life. One thing at a time. Not 20 random tips, not vague inspiration, not another person telling you to manifest harder, lower your standards, or just trust the process. One play at a time. One practical strategy that helps you stop guessing and start making intentional decisions about your future. Because you built the career, you built the life, you learned how to solve hard problems. You never got a strategy for this part, and it's not a character flaw in you. It's just a little gap in your plan, girl, and we can fix it. But before we go any further, do me a favor, click follow, click subscribe so you don't miss the next play. These are going to build on top of each other. And send this episode to a woman you know that has privately asked herself this too. Why am I so capable in every other area of my life, but dating still feels completely confusing? Because today, we are answering that question. Every year on August 1st, the anniversary of the day my first marriage ended, my life fell apart, I do something special because I don't want my ex to win the day or to win my future. So every year I've celebrated August 1st. It's like my personal New Year's. Because as I told you that we're out of milk story, the crazy thing is that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I was freed from an abusive marriage. I was staying because the shame of religion that had taught me to stay in the marriage no matter what. And I got to rebuild my life. A year to the date, the next August 1st, my first celebration of August 1st, I was on a plane with my kids moving to California because I got my dream job as a national radio host. You see what can happen when you don't let your ex win? And you decide, this is not going to get the best of me. I'm going to make this a powerful moment that I'm going to go get what I want and get it even better. So this year, I'm giving you a gift. I am teaching something called the game plan. I'm sharing my entire strategy in a free live training on August 1st. It's a Saturday, so we're going to get our coffee and we're going to drink our coffee together. It's 10 a.m. Pacific. It'll be 1 p.m. Eastern. So maybe you're a diet soda girl. And we are going to learn how to choose a healthy partner. For years, August 1st represented the moment that everything fell apart. But now it represents the moment I get to help you, another woman, change her future for the better. In today's episode, I'm going to show you the mistake almost all of us have been making. Inside the game plan, the free training, I'm going to show you the full strategy for identifying the right partner, recognizing the wrong one, stop wasting your time on the wrong one, and date with clarity instead of confusion. And again, the training is completely free, and you could register using the link in the show notes. It's called the game plan. Just stick on that, girl. But first, I need to show you why you need a game plan in the first place, okay? And why you just can't wish and hope and girl, I love you, but just like waiting on God is not going to work. He also needs you to take action. After my divorce, I became obsessed with understanding what the hell happened. Not because I was immediately trying to find another husband. I just needed answers. I didn't want to date right away. I mean, I was still breastfeeding. That's kind of complicated. I wasn't careless. I wasn't reckless. I wasn't someone who ever made decisions without thinking through them. I was responsible. I was capable. I had 3 kids to think about. I knew how to work hard and solve problems. So how did I end up married to someone who could simply just leave me? And then after my divorce, something happened that shook me all over again. As I was trying to date and figure things out, I actually got engaged again. From this time, I thought I had learned. I thought I had healed. I thought I'd finally found a good, healthy man that was going to help provide for my children. Do you see where my error was there? Until I discovered he had lied to me. He put a ring on my finger, and I realized he was still legally married to somebody else. And I was a national Christian radio host. I was so humiliated and embarrassed. I can still remember that sick feeling in my stomach because now I wasn't only grieving another relationship and another person I had introduced to my children, I was questioning myself. What the hell is wrong with me? How could I choose another unhealthy man? Why do I keep ending up here? Maybe you've asked yourself a version of that question too. I get it. Why do I keep choosing emotionally unavailable men? Why do I get attached before I know who someone really is? Why do I keep seeing his potential instead of his reality? Why do I stay in relationships that never move forward? Why does this keep happening to me? That question sent me to therapy, a really good one. And it sent me into learning relationship science. I learned everything. There's something about me. If there's something I need to learn, I will become an expert on it. Just ask me about sourdough someday. I learned attachment theory, conflict research, personality psychology, marriage studies, anything I could find that might explain what the hell I had missed. I wasn't studying because I wanted to become a dating coach, okay, or a dating strategist. I was studying because I needed to make sure I never made the same mistake again. I don't give up on things. I didn't want to give up on love, but I didn't trust my picker. Somewhere in that process, I realized something that changed my life. I had been asking all the wrong questions. The question wasn't what's wrong with me. The question was, what was I taught to measure? What was I taught about picking a partner? When a relationship ends, women immediately begin kind of auditing themselves. Have you done this? Was I too much? Was I too independent? Was I not skinny enough? Did I ask for too much? Were my boobs not big enough? Should I have been more patient? But sometimes the problem isn't that you were too much or nothing about your body. The problem is that you were measuring the wrong things. I grew up in the evangelical church. I was taught purity culture. I was taught to look for a man who could provide, who was a leader, who was ambitious, a man who wanted a family. And none of those qualities are automatically bad, but they are not enough. Nobody taught me how to evaluate whether or not a man was emotionally stable. Nobody taught me how to recognize conscientiousness. Nobody taught me how to see how he handled stress, disappointment, or conflict. Nobody taught me to ask whether his words consistently matched his behaviors. I had a scorecard, which was, can he provide for me so that I can stay at home and have babies? That's what the church teaches. It was incomplete. Can he lead me? I didn't need anyone to lead me. I had a college degree. I was a journalist. I had a good job. I wanted somebody that would make decisions with me, not to try to control and dominate me. I needed someone that wasn't going to build their career off of my servanthood at home. And that's why all this resentment built up. I was asking all the wrong questions. I mean, think about it. And you probably have even asked this of your friends when they meet someone new, or you've probably been asked it of yourself. Well, does he have a good job? What does he do for a living? Notice they never ask what the woman does for a living. Can he provide? Is he confident? Is he a leader? Is there chemistry? Will he always choose you? But I wasn't asking, does he take responsibility for when he hurts someone? Can he regulate his emotions? Does he follow through? Does he keep his promises when no one is watching? Can he hear feedback without becoming defensive? Does he make my life feel more peaceful or more confusing? I wasn't stupid. I was a well-educated woman. I didn't necessarily have a broken picker. I had a broken scorecard. We were taught the wrong things. And I get it. Our mothers had to choose that way. Our grandmothers definitely had to choose that way because they didn't have the opportunities of the careers and even the education that we have, that even you have. You know, my grandmother, when she became a widow in, I think 1956 or 57, she was in her 30s and her husband died on the farm and she had 4 kids. The only job she could get was a telephone operator or a bank teller. Women then had to get married in order to provide. That's where this thing came from. Even my mother, when you think about it, she couldn't buy a home on her own. She couldn't get a credit card in her name. She had to get married. But you and I, we don't. So we need a new scorecard. But I'm going to give it to you, okay? So don't get all mad. We've got a fix for this. It's actually the easiest fix ever. We've been grading men on the wrong test. Can you provide? That's not enough. And I think a lot of women are still using that same test. You know, I hear women when they tell me who they're dating, some of my clients, and they'll often tell me what his job is. And I say, I don't really care. Like, does he have a job? That's the most important thing. You know, we ask, does he make me laugh? Is he attractive? Does he have a successful career? Does he text me every morning? Does he plan impressive dates? Does he make me feel wanted? Again, those things are not meaningless. They're just incomplete. A man can text you every morning and still be completely emotionally unavailable. He can plan beautiful dates and pay for them and still lack the integrity that you need in order to have him as your partner. He can have a successful career and still be incapable of sustaining a healthy partnership because he can't commit. He can create intense chemistry. You can have great sex and leave your nervous system in constant chaos because you never know where you stand with him. The qualities that make someone exciting to date are not always the same qualities that make someone healthy to build a life with. So stop asking only, is he a good provider or does he like me? Start asking, is he qualified to build a life with me? Being interested in you and being equipped for partnership are not the same thing. Somehow we've been taught that dating is the one area of life where strategy ruins all the magic. Think about how ridiculous that is. You would never tell a woman, don't make a financial plan, just follow your heart. Don't prepare for the interview. If the job is meant for you, it will find you. Don't research the house. You know the right one when you feel the butterflies. But when it comes to the person who may affect your peace, your finances, your family, your health, and the next 40 years of life, the advice is don't overthink it. Just see what happens. When it's right, you'll know. Trust the chemistry. God will bring him to you. No, chemistry is information. It is not a decision-making system. Attraction matters, but attraction cannot tell you whether someone has integrity. Butterflies can't tell you whether he could repair conflict. A great first date that he paid a lot of money for can't tell you whether or not he will remain steady when life becomes hard, because it always will become hard. You need more than a feeling. You need a process. You need a way to gather evidence before your emotions become so invested that you begin explaining away what you can already see. Chemistry can tell you that you want him. It cannot tell you whether or not he's good for you. That requires evidence. This is the part where I need to lovingly just chat with you a little bit, okay? Like your big sister. You may have a list, I get it. That does not mean you have a game plan. You may know you want someone tall and attractive and financially secure and funny and educated and close to his family. That's a list. A game plan tells you how to evaluate his character. It tells you what evidence to gather. It tells you how to stop investing in someone who can't give you the relationship that you want. It tells you how to move from attraction to assessment without turning dating into a job interview. It tells you what to do when the chemistry is so strong. Sex is so good, but the evidence of character is really weak. It tells you how to protect your time without closing your heart. Because the problem isn't simply that you keep choosing the wrong men or that there are no good men. The problem is that you've been dating without a complete strategy. And when you don't have the full strategy, chemistry becomes the strategy, or how much money he has becomes the strategy. And then he treats you poorly, you overlook all the red flags, and then it's months or even years down the road and you're heartbroken again. Time becomes the strategy. Hope becomes the strategy. And you tell yourself, maybe he'll be ready soon. No good woman waits for a man to be ready. He's either ready or he's not. And if he's not, you walk. Maybe he just needs more time. Maybe once he feels safe, he'll commit. Maybe after this difficult season, things will become clearer. But time is not a vetting tool. You can spend 8 months with someone and still know almost nothing about his ability to build a healthy relationship if you have not been asking the right questions and watching for the right evidence. 8 months is a talking stage. It costs you a window of being able to have children, of having someone help you raise your children. That is why we need a different scorecard. So once I began studying what actually predicts a healthy, happy marriage, as I studied the research, one question became an obsession for me. What actually predicts a healthy, happy marriage? Not a marriage that simply lasts, a marriage where two people actually enjoy each other 20 years later, where home feels peaceful, where you don't spend your life wondering which version of your partner is walking through the front door, when you genuinely like the person you're growing old with. One study completely stopped me in my tracks. Psychologist Ty Tashiro studies relationship compatibility and long-term relationship success. He found that only about 35% of married couples describe themselves as happily married. Don't let that depress you, okay? I get it, but his research wasn't sad. He studied the 35%. Think about that. Not the marriages that lasted, marriages that people actually described as happy. I know the statistic hits you hard because most people spend more time researching a vacation they're going to take for a week than the person that they're going to spend the next 40 years with. We're going to spend hours reading hotel reviews, watching YouTube videos, comparing restaurants, right? Reading Amazon reviews before buying the blender. But when it comes to choosing a life partner, that advice we've been given is you'll know, follow your heart, just trust the chemistry. But chemistry is never proven to predict a healthy marriage. Character has. And that is what fascinated me. Researchers kept finding 3 qualities over and over again in the 35% of happy marriages. And not income. It didn't matter if the person made $80,000 or $800,000. It was not looks, not charisma, not how good the sex is, not confidence. 3 character traits. Conscientiousness, low neuroticism, simply means like emotional stability, and moderate adventurousness. That one I find really interesting. Anyone date adventure guy and have him never commit? Okay, I remember reading that and literally saying out loud, why did no one teach me this? Because nobody had. Okay, let's go into them one at one. No one had told me to look for conscientiousness. No one had ever said, hey, Amanda, pay attention to whether or not he follows through. Pay attention to how he handles disappointment. Pay attention to whether he keeps his promises when nobody is watching. Instead, I spent years asking questions that weren't nearly as predictive. Does he have a good job? Can he provide? How's the sex? Questions aren't bad. They're just completely incomplete. None of them tell you whether this man has the emotional tools and longevity to build a healthy, happy relationship. So let's go into them. The first quality, conscientiousness. Because honestly, this one changed everything for me. Conscientiousness is not flashy. It's usually not very sexy. It's not exciting. Nobody brags to their girlfriends, girl, he is so conscientious. Conscientiousness is someone's ability to consistently do what they say they're going to do. It's responsibility, reliability, self-discipline, follow through, integrity in action. It's someone whose words and behavior actually match. He says he'll call, then he calls. He says he'll be there at 6, then he's there at 6. He says he'll pay the bill, then he pays the bill. He says he's going to work on something, and he actually works on it. He doesn't require someone else to manage his life. He manages it himself. He does his own laundry. Now hear me. This doesn't mean perfection. Conscientious people still forget things. They still make mistakes. They're human beings. The difference is they own it, they apologize, they repair it, and they don't blame you. They don't spend their lives making excuses. Here's why this really matters. Marriage isn't built on grand romantic gestures. Marriage is built on 1,000 ordinary moments. Did you show up at that doctor's appointment I really needed you to hold my hand at? Did you follow through when I asked for your help? Can I trust your word? Can I count on you? Because trust isn't built during your anniversary trip to Maui that you love to post about and brag about. Trust is built on a Tuesday. It's built in the ordinary. It's built every time someone keeps a promise they could have broken. That's what creates peace. Chemistry gives you butterflies. Conscientiousness gives you the peace you crave. And peace will sustain a marriage long after butterflies fade. Because they fade. You know that, right? Let's get into the second one, low neuroticism. The second quality researchers found that created a happy marriage, that the 35% of people that said they had a happy marriage had, was this low neuroticism. It's a terrible name. It sounds like psychologists are calling someone neurotic. They are not. I looked it up. Low neuroticism simply means someone is emotionally stable. Think about the people in your life. Some people experience stress and they become impossible to be around. Everything is a crisis. Every inconvenience becomes an emergency. Every disagreement becomes a fight. Every hard conversation becomes an attack. Other people can experience the exact same stress and they remain grounded. They still feel disappointed. They get angry. They still get kind of angry. They still cry, but they don't become controlled by those emotions. They are able to regulate themselves. They pause before reacting. They don't punish you with silence. They don't scream. They don't explode. They don't blame everyone else. They don't make you responsible for managing their emotional world. Instead, they stay curious. They communicate, they repair, they apologize, they listen. That creates emotional safety. And emotional safety is one of the greatest gifts you can give another human being. I want you to imagine something. You tell a man, hey, when you said that yesterday, it really hurt my feelings. Made me feel uncomfortable. One man immediately gets defensive. You're too sensitive. You're overreacting. I can't ever do anything right. You're too much. Now somehow you're apologizing for getting your feelings hurt. The other man says, I'm so sorry. Tell me more. Help me understand. That was not my intention. How can I make this right? Same conversation, completely different outcome. One nervous system creates chaos. The other creates peace. And that's why emotional stability matters. Not because healthy people never have emotions, because they know how to have emotions without making everyone else pay for them. Stop confusing emotional intensity with emotional intimacy. Chaos is not chemistry. Walking on eggshells is not passion. Peace is not boring. Peace is healthy. All right, now let's talk about the next one. The third quality, moderate adventurousness, or a moderate openness to experience. Again, they could have come up with better things, but this is the truth, okay? The third quality really surprised me. Moderate openness to experience. Sometimes you'll hear it called moderate adventurousness. It doesn't mean this doesn't mean he needs to climb Mount Everest or jump out of airplanes. It means he's open to growth. He's curious, he's teachable, he's willing to learn. He's flexible enough to adapt when life changes, because here's what happens in a healthy marriage. Life frickin' changes. Careers change. Kids arrive. Kids leave. I'm going through that now. Parents get older. Health changes. Dreams change. The question isn't, will life change? Because it absolutely will. The question is, can this person grow with me? Can they hear a different perspective? Can they admit when they're wrong? Can they try something new? Will they let me try something new? Can they evolve? Because someone who is rigid always has to be right. Someone who is open is willing to grow. One of the things I admire most about my husband, Sean, is that he brings me peace. He's not perfect. He's teachable. We've had to learn what annoys each other and how to stop it. But he's humble enough to keep learning. When we disagree, his goal is never to win. His goal is to understand. That's what healthy relationships look like. Two imperfect people who never stop growing together. Don't ask yourself anymore, is he exciting? Ask yourself, can he grow? Because marriage isn't about finding someone who never changes. It's about finding someone who's willing to grow with you. And suddenly everything started making sense. I realized I had spent years evaluating attraction instead of evaluating the evidence. I'd spent years evaluating net worth. I'd been asking, do I like him? Instead of asking, is he equipped to build a healthy relationship with me and my children? Those are two completely different questions, right? And once I understood that, my dating life finally changed forever. I stopped dating the same kind of guys over and over again. The game plan doesn't begin with finding better men. It begins with asking better questions. It begins with using a better scorecard. And that's exactly what we're going to run together. You don't need better instincts. You just need a better scorecard. Because your future will not be determined by how many men choose you. It will be determined by whether you learn to choose wisely. Friend, this is exactly why I created the game plan. Because one play can change how you think, but a complete framework changes how you date, and it changes your future. And I'm teaching this training for free this Saturday, August 1st, my personal reset day. The date's intentional. You know this. It's the anniversary of the day my first marriage ended. It's weird to celebrate it, but now that I look back, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. That date will not represent failure to me. It represents freedom. Because that painful season forced me to ask these better questions. Questions that ultimately led to a healthier marriage than I ever thought was possible. I found the gold in it. That's what my therapist taught me how to do. So inside the game plan, my free training on Saturday, I'm going to walk you through the complete framework. How to identify healthy men sooner, how to stop wasting months or years in relationships that aren't moving forward, how to date with confidence instead of confusion, and how to build the scorecard based on evidence instead of hope. So if today's episode resonated with you, you are going to love the training. It's completely free. The link is in the show notes, so go click on it and save your seat before it gets full. I would love to spend Saturday morning with you over a cup of coffee. I did it intentionally on Saturday because I know how busy we are during the week. I feel like this is a great opportunity, okay? If you can't do it on Saturday, the kids have something or you have something planned, it's okay. There's going to be a replay. So save your seat and you'll get the replay. Again, link is in the show notes. So every episode of the playbook, as you know, ends with the play that I want you to run. I'm like the football coach of love, and we're building the game plan, the playbook, so that you win at love. It's not homework. Homework feels like something you got to do. A play is something you get to run. It's one shift that will change the outcome. So here's the week's play. I want you to grab your journal or open the notes app on your phone right now, girl. Draw a line down the middle of the page if it's a piece of paper. On the left side, write the scorecard I was given. On the right side, write the scorecard I'm choosing. Now I want you to be brutally honest, not with me, with yourself. What have you been actually measuring? Income, chemistry, confidence, height, charisma, how quickly you text back, whether or not he plans good dates, how good the sex is. None of those things actually make you shallow. They're just incomplete. They're the scorecard many of us inherited. Now, on the right side, I want you to begin writing a different scorecard. Conscientiousness, emotional stability, integrity, humility, kindness, curiosity, consistency, faithfulness, personal responsibility. Oops, I'm going too fast. You might have to rewind that. Teachability. Then ask yourself one question. If I removed attraction from the equation for just a moment, would this still be the kind of man I'd trust to build a life with? Because attraction might start the relationship. Character determines whether it survives. So go run the play. Here's how I actually want you to run this play. The next time you're talking to a man, don't immediately ask yourself, ooh, am I attracted to him? Don't ask, could I see myself with him? Don't ask, do I feel butterflies? Instead, become a student of him. Be an observer. Gather evidence. Watch how he follows through. Watch what happens when plans change. Watch how he talks about his ex. Watch how he treats the waitress. Watch how he responds when you disappoint him. Watch whether he keeps his word. Watch whether his actions consistently match what he says. You are no longer trying to figure out whether you can make the relationship work. You're gathering evidence to determine whether this relationship is healthy enough to deserve your investment. It's a completely different mindset now. Here's what I want you to know. The right man doesn't become disqualified because he paid attention. The wrong man eventually does. And that's the point. You're not trying to talk yourself into someone just because he's there. You're trying to see someone clearly. That's the play. Run it this week. Whether you're actively dating or whether you're just thinking about getting back out there, this should give you the confidence that you can trust yourself again if you've got the right scorecard, or whether you're already seeing someone. Stop evaluating attraction and how much money he makes first. Start evaluating character. Dating isn't about finding somebody who likes you and can provide for you. Dating is gathering enough evidence to decide whether you should choose them. You don't need another dating tip. You just need a better strategy. So before we wrap up, I want to go back to where we started, August 1st, a gallon of milk, 3 little kids, and a woman standing in her kitchen wondering how her life had just fallen apart. If you had told that version of me that one day I would actually be grateful for the questions that experience forced me to ask, I never would have believed you. Not because divorce was a gift. It wasn't. It was heartbreaking. Not because betrayal made me stronger. I wish it had never happened. But because pain is a way of revealing the places where our old way of thinking no longer works. That pain forced me to stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, how do I make sure it doesn't happen again? That question changed me. It led me to the research. It led me to rebuilding my scorecard. It led me to my husband, Sean. And instead of dismissing him, I chose him. And today, it led me to you. Maybe that's why you're listening to this today. Maybe that's why your friend sent this to you, if a friend did. Maybe you've been asking yourself, why do I keep choosing the wrong man? I hope today's episode gave you a different question to ask. Maybe you don't have a broken picker. Maybe nobody just ever handed you the right playbook. No one ever taught you how to evaluate what predicts a peaceful relationship that will bring you happiness. If that's true, there's nothing wrong with you. You just have a gap in the plan, and the gaps can be filled. Strategies can be learned. Your future can look different from your past, and that's what I help you with. So maybe you're thinking, you know what, Amanda, I would love some help. I would love to offer you a free love audit call. Just you and me, 30 minutes on a Zoom. You telling me, okay, this is what I've been going for, and us talking about a strategy and a plan you can implement on how you can make a better choice moving forward so you can be a part of that 35% that has the happiest marriage. I so want that for you. It's a free call. You can apply to it. Just give me a little bit of information about you. And the link is right there in the show notes. And I've got openings tomorrow. I've got openings even over the weekend. So go apply for your free love audit. Again, the link is in the show notes. If this episode encouraged you, could you do me 2 favors? First, share it with one woman who needs to hear it, because chances are she's been blaming herself or swearing off all men when she really just needs a better framework. And second, join me for the game plan. On August 1st, it's my free live training where I'm going to help you build the complete strategy we introduced today. We'll take everything you learned in this episode and turn it into a dating system that you can actually use. The link is waiting for you in the show notes, and I cannot wait to see you there. Remember, hope is beautiful, but hope is not a strategy. Love isn't luck, and the quality of your future will be shaped less by who chooses you and far more by who you choose. I'll see you next week.